various clubs and district levels. So proudly welcoming our very own Anjali, Dr. Anjali Narayan.
Lovely insight, Dr. Prem. I think you've covered almost 90% of whatever I wanted to speak as well. Each and every point that you spoke about is so essential when it comes to elder care and geriatric care. So since everyone's spoken about this being a group full of medical people and a lot of physiotherapists and MBBS people in the group, I hope the way I'm talking and the things I'm going to ask you all later on, I hope it's going to be relatable as well. All right. So if you're somebody who is a doctor or somebody who's in the medical field, you're taking any history of a patient as well, all right, and you do advise them, that you have to take care of your health. You've got to work on your weight, you've got to work on other aspects. And they tell me this one thing. They are like, doctor, the problem is it's not just that I'm fat, it's just that this being fat runs in my family. So I end up telling them that maybe the problem is not that it runs in your family, but that nobody in your family runs. All right. So keeping that joke apart, one thing when it comes to geriatric healthcare, the topic is about art of graceful aging. All right. I have planned not only to cover about the geriatric aspect, how you're going to go about the whole thing physiotherapy wise, but also going to take care of yourself. Is everybody muted? I'm sorry, I could just hear some stuff. All right.
Everybody is
So
muted.
that's going to be one thing. Yeah, all right. Super. Thank you. So one thing that I'm going to talk about is something called as the body age. All right. When it comes to being of geriatric age, just like Dr. Prem specified, that there are three sections when it comes to geriatrics, right? There is the young old, there's the middle old, and then there is the old old. So when I am planning a whole physiotherapy or a physical plan for them, right? One thing I look into is anybody's body age, any patient that I get. Why? What is a body age exactly? All right. There are five aspects that our body is mainly made of, the weight of it, right? So one is going to be your fat mass. Second is going to be your muscle mass. Third is going to be your visceral organs and that mass. Fourth is going to be your water weight. And the fifth and the last thing is going to be your bone weight. So all these five together comprise of your body weight, right? So whenever you're going to be recommending your patients, right, that you want to lose weight, if they are obese patients, if this obesity or being overweight is one of the causative factors for them to actually end up getting the comorbidities, that's what you're going to work on, right? So you're going to make sure that they end up losing their fat mass, correct? That's going to be the first thing. Next, what I'm going to talk about is the geriatric aspect of physiotherapy. So whenever I get a patient, just like again you saw in the presentation, there are two types of patients that you might end up, right? There are multiple. Each geriatric patient is different from each other. So there will be one group, okay, who is pretty independent, who is able to do all of their exercises very well. And then there are people who are bedridden or they're reliable on others, so they are caregivers. I'm going to focus on each group one on one, and then I'm going to go to the last part, which is the mental health. I think Dr. Prem has covered the most part of that as well, but I would like to talk about it as a physiotherapist to medical students. So the first thing is going to be somebody who is pretty, sorry, who is pretty, sorry about that. So for somebody who's pretty independent or geriatric, how are you going to plan your exercise? All right. You're going to make sure that the exercises are either low or they're moderate level exercises. So when I talk about low and moderate exercises, you see through that their heart rate, that is the training heart rate which is there, shouldn't exceed a particular amount. So being medical students, I would like one of you all to unmute yourself and answer this. Being medical students and physiotherapy students, have you all been taught how to calculate your training heart rate? Yes, no. I would like to know from the physiotherapists on this group for
Yes,
sure.
ma'am. It is 220
Yes,
minus the
yes,
age of
yes.
an individual. 220 minus the age of the individual.
That is your maximum heart rate, yes. But when you're calculating your training heart rate, any physiotherapist would like to answer that part? What is the Cavernous formula?
Cavern's formula.
Okay, very good. So what is the Cavernous formula? You're like, what is this? This is
Heart
supposed to be an
rate,
interactive session.
heart rate Your resting heart rate plus 60%, heart
Hmm.
rate maximum minus heart rate rest.
Perfect. All right. So that's the perfect formula of caverning. Whoever answered that, congratulations, you were right. That's the perfect formula to calculate your training heart rate. So whenever you get a patient, or if you're actually forming an exercise routine for anybody in your family, you make sure you see all of these factors. One main reason, like I told you, is each patient is different. All right, there could be one patient whose resting heart rate is higher. There could be someone who's gone through a bypass surgery. So when you are planning their exercise regime, it's going to be different, right? So that's going to be one thing you're going to take care of. So whenever you're going to do the physical activities, when it is low intensity and moderate intensity, you need to make sure that your heart rate is pretty much in the trainable aspect or not. So when I talk about forming an exercise regime, right? Whenever we talk about any normal person and geriatrics, is there any difference? Technically, no. What we do same when we are young, same when we grow old. All right. So the four aspects that I talk about when it comes to physical training. Okay, the first thing is going to be your endurance or your stamina. So you need to ensure that these two things are always kept to good level, especially during these corona situations as well. Okay, our lungs are not functioning properly after point. So now when the lockdown opens up a little more, when we start going outside, you will notice how our lung capacity has definitely reduced because A, less physical exercises, no activity, sedentary lifestyle going on. So that's one reason that we need to make sure that our lungs are functioning good enough, especially of our geriatric patients and people who we live with. So you need to make sure you're taking care of that part for them. So what can you do for the sick is you can start with something as low as even walking. You can start with any cardio exercises, which is very light enough for them. So if there's someone who comes into the middle old or old, I prefer for a low intensity exercise. And when they are a little on the younger old aspect, you can go for a little moderate to high, depending on their physical abilities. What is there? Next thing, which is going to be, it's going to be the strength training. All right. So when I talk about strength training, everybody ends up thinking you need weights, you need machines. I think physiotherapists of the year would know that that is not the only way that one can do strength training. We can use our own body weight for the same. We have different things to do so. We have, even any activities like even heavy gardening is a very good exercise where you use your own body weight. You can use calisthenics. So you can make sure you do that if you don't have any free weights available. So you make sure giving them some good strength training as well. All right. That makes sure your muscles are strong enough, making sure you're able to carry on with your activities. If you're having the supplements that Dr. Prem spoke about along with it, it's going to be the best thing ever. All right. The third thing you're going to take care in their physical activities is going to be flexibility. Okay, so things like basic stretching, yoga, all of these aspects can be given to them as well. It's not like they're old, so they cannot move at all. All right. So, okay, somebody just wrote the Caduceus formula there for us. Thank you. That is the right one. Anyway, so I'll go ahead with things. Flexibility, right? So, yoga is not beneficial for us physically, but if you all know the definition of yoga, it's for the mind and for the soul as well. So, you make sure that you're making the geriatrics at your home or your patients perform some form of yoga. One reason is because you really need this kind of a very stable mental health. If you see any patient in the future, which is okay, you have been treating them. For instance, take someone who has osteoarthritis, or for other people who don't know what that is. All right, pain in the knee. All right, and you're going and treating patients over there. You're taking care of things. You're done the full rehabilitation. Every exercise is given to them, but they don't seem to be improving. Okay, we give a particular pattern how you're supposed to go about, how you're supposed to treat the patient, but they don't show the results, and you wonder why. That is when it comes to the factor of correct history taking, and it comes to the fact you need to talk to your patient. All right. So again, that has been covered, but this is something I would keep repeating each time. Whenever you take a consideration of a geriatric patient or a geriatric person in your house, communication is the key. Talk to them. Ask them what is wrong. If you are not able to get to the factors as to what is wrong with them, what has happened, all right, we have this scale in physiotherapy which we use. I'm sure even Dr. Prem has definitely used this for seeing his patients. It's called as the Geriatric Depression Scale, or the GDS. All right. This comprises of different questions which you can ask a geriatric patient, and higher the levels, you would get to know at what level of depression is the patient on, if it's mild, if it's moderate, or if it's chronic. So that's one thing that you've got to take care of. So you can try using the questions in that. So if you're trying to interact with the patient, if you don't want to stand there in front with the paper and ask them the questions, are you having this? Are you having that? Obviously, they're going to be very uncomfortable answering those to you. So try pushing these questions slowly by slowly into your conversation of history taking. That's how you pick up the points and you can jot down and see what their score is. That will give you a better way to know what their mental health state is. If it's actually higher, that is one of the key reasons as to why you're not seeing any improvement in their physical health. That is why we've been specifying so much over the mental health. Because if your mental health is still affected, there is no use of doing multiple things in your physical health because it's going to show. The physical ailments is not going to go very easily. So you make sure you're taking care of that aspect. The fourth and the last thing which we take care of when it comes to providing exercises to geriatric patients is balance exercises. Now, again, when it comes to balance, okay, one thing which he spoke about, right, is going to be the risk of falls. It's definitely more in elder people, is because obviously weak muscles, their eyesight, so when their eyesight it's reduced, right? So when the area is dimly lit, enter the room, they don't see anything, the room is cluttered, they're going to trip, they're going to fall, they'll end up having fractures if they have weak bones. So that is one reason why you need to take care of their balance training as well, along with everything else. All right. You make sure that you do whenever you perform any balance exercises. If you're starting at your home, all right. So I'll tell you some simple exercise you can start off with is place a chair in front of the patient or the elder person who's there. All right. Ask them to hold the chair for support, or even they can use a wall if needed. Okay. Try lifting their legs straight up, single leg, and take it down, up and down. So take it forward and center, side and then center, back and then center. Try doing this single leg exercise for them. It's a very good balance training exercise for the first start. Then you slowly move the chair off. Then you do the same exercise, front, back, and side of the legs. Then you can also do a single leg standing for them with eyes open first, then eyes closed. These are exercises which you can do at home right now when you don't have anything available. All right, if you don't have a wuzu ball or anything as such, you can start doing all of these exercises for them. If you don't have anything like a wuzu ball at your house, how do you do these balance exercises? You can use pillows. You can use multiple pillows. Okay, you can make the person stand over the pillow and then you can ask them to do these exercises. But make sure they do it under your guidance or someone is present around because you don't want them to have falls during the exercises. This is a small exercise tip that I could give you all for balance training for the patient. So make sure that whenever you're forming your exercises, these four factors are taken care of. Now talking about patients who have gone through a surgery or who are bedridden because of other factors, maybe a stroke or Parkinson at a very severe stage, any of these patients who come in, they are unable to do things. So how do I form an activity cycle for them? Always remember that since we spoke about every geriatric patient is different from each other, but one thing that is common as they age is they don't want to become, all of them don't want to become million somans at the age of 80 and 88. If you'll have read the book Ikigai, if anyone's a book lover, you all might have seen in the book how they spoke about in Japan. There is actually a place wherein everybody over there are senior citizens in that village, and the youngest person was actually 85 years old. So it was something which I loved reading, and I'm sure you all should definitely read that book for this reason. Ikigai basically means the purpose of living, and that is exactly what you need your geriatric patients to have, a purpose to live. All right, so make sure that they have that. So that's first thing you're going to do is check their geriatric depression scale, see how the levels are. Then you're going to form their exercise regime for them. How interaction is very, very important. Yes, it's an amazing book. Yes, so that's I'm very glad everybody loved that book as well. Okay, so that's going to be one thing. And whenever you're performing any activities, giving them activities, they don't expect to be lifting 50 kgs, 25 kgs of dumbbells. All they want is they're able to do their function independently. They tell me, doctor, मुझे bathroom तक जाना है बस. So this patient of mine got through a THR, which is total hip replacement. All right. She told me, I want to go visit the bathroom independently. I cannot see people helping me. So I made sure that happened for her. I didn't have to like make sure so when you're giving them exercises, make sure you're giving them things that they use on a daily ritual and everything. So I keep putting up some videos and some tips over my stories on Instagram. So anybody who follows will definitely know about the same. So you can definitely see there. It's Anjali Narayan. Anyway, so that is one thing. Whenever you're forming exercises for your patients, use things that they use on a daily basis. Don't give them a dumbbell, tell them, or TheraBand, and tell them, chalo, auntie, exercise karo. They're going to be like, no, I don't want to do this. Okay? So you give them things that they use on a daily basis. Maybe a plate, maybe toothpaste, or anything. They're unable to lift things. If they are Parkinson patients, you see tremors, their grips are affected. Give them beads. She likes to needle work is something that she loves to do. Give her a thread, give her beads, tell her to start doing those things. So that's how you plan your treatment for such patients. Always make sure that you're giving them exercises based on the activities of daily living. How to improve these things. So you go from lying to sitting to standing and then walking. That is going to be the procedure that you're going to plan your exercises. Make sure all the 4 aspects I spoke about are covered in those, and then you're pretty much good to go. Now, last thing I want to cover quickly is going to be about the COVID situation issue, which is definitely the highlight of the day. All right. So, if I don't know if you all can see clearly in my I just because I'm using my mobile phone, I'm not sure if you can see me clearly. Am I clearly visible now? Is it better? Can you all see my diaphragm area, this region? Good enough? Or should I go a little more further
Ma'am.
behind? You can see, right? All right, I'll just go a little more behind. All right. So now, I'm sure all physiotherapists know these exercises, but let's teach the others about it as well. So for the geriatric people at your home and for your patients, along with these exercises, make sure that their lungs are functioning perfectly well. So I'm going to show and demonstrate 2 exercises, which are simple exercises. And since Dr. Prem's video is on, I'm going to make him do the same. I made him do the same thing on our Instagram live as well. So let's see if he remembers it. All right. So the first exercise is going to be a diaphragmatic breathing. Technically, diaphragmatic breathing is just a correct breathing, which you will see in any neonates and children. All right. So what happens in this is when you're breathing in, your diaphragm in your stomach comes out. And when you're breathing out, your stomach should go in. That is how you teach the exercise. Technically, it should be normal breathing, but you can also take it to deep breathing. So I'm going to show the deep breathing way. You can keep either one hand or cup both your hands and just keep it over your diaphragm area, just below right here. Okay, you take a deep breath in and you blow out. So the reason you're keeping your hand is because when you're breathing in, you need to make sure your hands are coming forward. And when you're blowing your air out, your hands go in. That's going to be the key. So I'll do it once again. All right, that is the basic way to do it. Okay, now the next exercise you can teach them is going to be thoracic expansion exercises. All right, that's for expanding your muscles of your expanding your lungs. All right, so I'm going to show you one. There are different ways to do it. I'm sure most of you, if you are, I think you all were taught this in your second year, as far as I remember. So let's see if you all can remember the same. All right, so the first exercise, you're going to keep both your hands forward. All right. What you're going to do is you're going to take a deep breath and take your hands outside. And as you blow your air out, you're going to slowly exhale and take your hands forward. All right. So I'm just going to demonstrate that one for you all. So it's in and then out. So you notice when I take my hands outside compared to inside, when I'm taking it inside, it's got to be very slow. All right. So one tip that I will give you all when it comes, I hope that those exercises were helpful. All right. So one tip I will give you all when I'm giving exercises to your patients is you can start training them with something like the 4, 5, 6 exercise. When what you got to do is you breathe in for 4 counts. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath for 5 counts and then blow out and exhale for 6 counts. That will be the best way you can start off with your breath training. So diaphragmatic breathing is always the basic training that you need to give your patients, followed by these exercises. So it's not like just because there's somebody's bedridden, only they are supposed to do these exercises. Each and every person can do these exercises. There's no age limit for doing these. So please do try these basic breathing exercises, especially during this corona situation, we need to make sure lungs are doing good. So just like Dr. Prem spoke about, make sure that if your patients are smokers and if the geriatric people you know are smokers, either they sustain the same or at least reduce it because you really need strong lungs in the situation. So I hope that I have helped you all to know about how to gracefully age. And when it comes to the body age aspect, one thing I would talk about is everybody needs to calculate their body age. So if you all have the machines at home, so don't buy it. See what your body age determines. Okay. So I have had patients who are like 21, 22 years old. Their body age has been 44 and 45. So that is like early geriatric aging at the age of in your early 20s. And that is because her physical body was pretty unhealthy. Okay. So you need to make sure that you're working on that aspect for sure. So check your body age. Let me know how it is and start exercising, start working on your mental health, and let's see how things go about. So that's all from my end. Thank you, and please put down the queries.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anjali ma'am, especially for making this session super interactive and about teaching us about body age and the different types of exercise. Being a medical student, we never knew these exercises, so and we could even kind of teach our grandparents all of that. So thank you so much, ma'am, for
I'm glad.
enlightening us. Now over to Jalak for the conclusion.
Well, thank you so. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah. So a very like big thank you to Anjali ma'am and Prem sir. So I especially liked Prem sir's idea of mental health and how it is important in the life of a geriatric patient. And ma'am, I loved your demonstrations of exercises and the way you gave the examples, and it really made me understand that yeah. So it was really good. And so before we move ahead, I would like to thank our president, Rotaract Manashri, our vice president, Sukriti, and all the members over here who are present. So thank you very much for being such an amazing audience. And before we move ahead with the question and answer session, we would like to have a photo session. So we have sent a photo of 60 plus count. Yeah. So everybody just everybody just open the photo and display it on your screen. We request everyone to switch on your video as well. Who's clicking the picture?
I am.
Okay.
Okay. 4, 3, 2,
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear things. I'm so sorry. What happened? I missed something. What is everyone posing
nothing,
with?
nothing, nothing,
No,
nothing.
no, ma'am. Okay, so the thing is, okay,
I'm
so
so
ma'am,
sorry.
on the panelist group, we have sent a picture of 60 plus counts. So, just download that
Okay.
picture and just display it on your screen. Yeah.
Oh, sure. Oh, wait, I'm on my phone. How am I supposed to display it on my screen?
It's
Oh,
It's fine, ma'am. It's okay. No
it
worries.
just,
I'm so sorry.
Okay, I'll take one more.
yeah.
Okay, 3. Uh, just a moment, it's loading up. Okay, let's
Can you
go.
just
One last. Thank you for bearing with me.
No, thank you so much, Nishit, for doing this.
No problem. Okay, done. Thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Nishit.
Sorry, I didn't come into the 60 plus thing. And all the
No,
best
it's
to
okay,
everybody
ma'am.
for all your projects. Yeah, all the very best for all your projects. And if you all need my help for anything Rotaract wise or medical wise, I'll be happy to help you all anytime. I think
Thank
Jhalak
you
ko
so
uski
much.
jhalak mil gayi hai. So yeah.
Yeah, and so now, ma'am, we will like to move ahead with the question and answer session. So,
Super.
anybody
Yeah.
has any doubt, any query, any question for ma'am and sir both, and just type it out on a chat box, or you can, just unmute yourself and
Yeah, I just want to add a comment to what Anjali said.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be Milan Soman. Everybody should be want to be his mother, because his mother at 81 actually beats a man down.
I swear. Totally. I so
Usha
agree.
Soman is
I
an
so
81-year-old
agree.
who can do push-ups quicker than Milan Soman. So,
I know. I've seen that. She's so cool.
so yeah. So she kills everybody at her age. I don't think that's why age is a number, to be very frank.
Yeah.
True.
And of course, Milan Soman has other attributes, I'm sure.
So I guess it's a question for the chat box by
It's a
Sapan.
question for me. Can't you let me see? Oh, sorry, what?
There is a question on the chat box. I guess it is for both. Why did you choose to become a geriatrician?
I
Anjali,
think
you
let him
answer it
answer that
first.
first and I'll come.
You
Yeah.
answer first. I'll go later.
Okay, so when it comes to my aspect, all right, I don't solely focus on geriatrics. Okay, I am a community health physiotherapist, and for people who are physiotherapists and who are not aware of this field, I'm not like you all have the subject called as CVR, just community-based rehabilitation, right? So when I reached my final year, okay, we had this Anand Ashram. I was actually from Dr. D.Y. Patil University School of Therapy. Okay, so we had this place called as Anand Ashram, which is an old age home near our college. So we had our postings over there since the first year of college. But obviously, we are going to skip and all of that. So I didn't really attend in the first 2 years. Third year, we had to obviously submit those cases. So we're like, chalo, jana hi padega. Let's go there. All right. So that's how I entered that place. I'm just being very honest. It's very true. So I entered the place and I interacted with the people in the old age home. And when I saw the condition, when I saw people there, I felt so bad about it that they were left either by their children over there, or they honestly just left their homes for ABC reasons. And seeing them was one reason, and there was a patient who had stroke, then she had diabetes, she had osteoarthritis, now she has breast cancer, and she was taken care of by her 90-year-old husband, and that made me so teary-eyed. And at that point I just felt like this is going to be one reason why I want to go and help these people out right there. Okay, and second most important reason I'll tell you is actually going to be RC Caduceus, because in 2011 your alumni retractor Saurabh Rani and Oais Khan had come down to my classroom and spoke about community health and community service. And I fell in love with the whole concept of it. And these are the two major reasons why I really put my whole heart and soul into it. That's what I'm doing.
And thank you so much, ma'am. That was really
I'm
so.
glad. What about Dr. Prem?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Dr.
so I would say I believe a lot in destiny. And I was always very close to my grandparents. That's one of the reasons I am actually pretty good. I mean, Anjali is as well, because I know she's got a
Yeah.
very wonderful granny who doesn't apparently age.
She's
Fingers
super
crossed, she's
cool.
doing well.
Yeah.
And so the thing is, I was always close to them, and I actually am the first doctor in my family. So my grandfather wanted me to be a doctor, but I never thought that I would end up being a geriatrician per se. I actually love surgery. Let me be very frank. I love surgery. I wanted to be a surgeon. I loved all the, I mean, the way you scrub in, and it's all thrill, thrill, thrill. So surgery, it seems as if only surgeons do a lot of work, but that's not the case. It's just that they are depicted that way in Grey's Anatomy, unfortunately. So the thing is, I really sort of, you can say, learned my way through geriatrics. I got very good professors. I have to thank them for that. And I always somehow had patience, because older people need that patience. And I think maybe my upbringing, the fact that I was very close to my grandparents, really sort of inspired me, because I was already taking care of them in a way, if not, I mean, so that made me really passionate. Let me be very frank. When I joined MD in geriatrics, I didn't know anything about geriatrics, because it's very nascent. There are only 6 colleges in India who have the MD in geriatrics, and there are only 2 colleges in Maharashtra. And there is only one in Bombay, that is MGM Navi Mumbai, and Aurangabad has it. So apart from that, the great part about geriatrics is if you want to pursue it at any point, MD in geriatric medicine is always there in all the great colleges in India. I also consider MGM as one of them because I'm technically an alumni. I'm from Aurangabad, but yeah, it comes under the same university. And yeah, my wife is also there, so that's another reason. Uh, it's there in Ames, which is the haven. It's there in CMC Vellore, which is the second haven. It's there in Madras Medical College, which is a very famous college in south of India, and you get very good exposure there. And it's there in Amrita Institute of Medical Sciences, which is a haven which I never knew about until as I went there. Because it's one of the supreme colleges wherein you get a lot of exposure. And in Kerala, aging population is over the roof. So you actually, if you have to learn somewhere where you get aged people who are actually active, live long, educated, I think Kerala is the place where you would actually learn most of the things. And because most people come on their own, they don't even need their children for follow-ups. They're so independent. And then also Kerala has a flip side because most people are abroad. So a lot of older people can have a lot of mental issues as well. So the training part is very important. So I would say I was chosen by destiny and I liked it, but I really profess geriatrics is not that easy because a lot of people think that, oh, medicine might be tougher, geriatrics might be easier. It's because people don't know about it. Geriatrics is you need to know your entire medicine. I'm trying to scare you a bit. You need to know the entire medicine, and you have 3 more books for geriatrics. So imagine, so you add on to geriatrics. So it's actually I mean, India has this super specialty thing, which is, according to me, total crap. Everything is subspecialty. If you do medicine, you are a subspecialty or do nephrology. There is nothing known as super. India में वो DM बना दिया है सबको Superman type. तो वैसा होता नहीं है. So the thing is, ideally, geriatrics should not be a three-year MD course. It should be a 5-year course. Where first you do MD in medicine.
Don't ruin things for them, Prem.
No. I'm just saying, ideally, yes. But my experience, to be very frank, is this what is happening today is one of the biggest stepping stones. Because if people get to know about geriatrics in first year MBBS, second year MBBS, let me tell you, I knew about geriatrics before even I did MD. I mean, when I joined, I got to know and I found out about it. So you people are actually lucky that you're knowing about it much, much before. And some way or the other, we always take care of old people. So it's never that, and we are
Yeah.
very close. We are knowingly or unknowingly doing it. So that's why you should be passionate about it. And I just saw, I might just want to answer another question which I saw. How do you deal with stubborn old people? Not all old people are stubborn. Let me be very frank. There are a lot of myths of aging. All old people are depressed, all old people are stubborn, all old people have memory impairment. No. There are old people who are so jovial that their sense of humor you won't even understand. They are so sort of good in sense of humor. But remember one thing, you need to take 2 steps for the older person also, because that gap has to be changed. There is nothing known as generational gap. The gap is created because both are at their ends. Like, I mean, Anjali will vouch for it because I know her, so I know what relationship she has with her granny. So it's like, I mean, for me also, I used to play carom with my grandmother and she used to kill us. Kill.
Yeah.
At the age of 65,
Yeah,
70.
she was too cool. Yeah.
I mean, they are like, why
So
don't
yeah,
you go and learn carom and come and then talk to me? So
I'll
that's,
definitely add to one thing. Yeah. So I'll
yeah.
definitely
So
like to add to
Anjali can
one
add
thing
to it.
about
So that's what it
yeah.
should be. Remember, so this stubborn thing is all, it's all कहने की बात है. Never do, it's a heterogeneous population. Not everybody is same. So you have to, although if you ask me how to deal with them, never treat them like children. No, they are not children.
Yeah.
Never be very hard on them. You might be the only person they are trying to open up to. They might close down completely after that. So you have to give them time, let them rant, let them tell, and then try to say what you want. Never cut older people because older people, I mean, take it as an offense. Also tell caregivers, I mean, just before you add, I'll just complete it. Caregivers should not give history for older people who can talk. For me, it's highly irritating.
Agree.
Because everybody
Great.
keeps speaking. They are like, inko ye hai, inko wo hai, and we are like, who's the patient? Are you the patient or the older person? So because that paternalistic attitude should never happen, let them express. So that is something you should take. And I'm telling you, most of the fun times I have had have been with my grandparents. That maybe I hope my parents are not listening. So that's the way it is. And one
So
is
yeah, one thing I would like
you
to
get that
tell
extra
is,
protection, no, as a grandchild, you get the full protection of the world. So that is also there.
yeah, so that one thing I'd like to add to that part where you spoke about where someone asked if, what do you do when you have stubborn patients? I think when it comes to giving them exercises, all right, they do get a little irritable, all right. So now why does that happen is because if you give them a very monotonous exercise, you just tell them, auntie, ye karo, auntie, wo karo, even I'll get bored. Forget an older patient. Tell them why they're supposed to do it. What is the benefit? A. Second is make it fun. If you're someone who's dealing with kids or even geriatrics, make fun sessions. Kids and older people don't care about picking up weights or doing boring exercises. Give them fun things. Like we used to play catch. So this way the coordination was working on. So indirectly you're working on small aspects. So pick out. You need to plan and make fun exercise sessions for them. Don't call them stubborn. The problem might be in your treatment. So that could be one thing you need to take care of. That's one thing I want to add on to everything that you've spoken of for sure.
No, and I think the key word here is flexibility. With older people, you have to be flexible always.
Totally. Absolutely.
It
Yes.
can't
Yes,
be
I
your
agree.
mind that ki aisa jayega. I mean, and we make plans. We are like, okay, 85-year-old maybe might or might not be independent, but then the whole plethora and you have to be flexible. And as she's saying, even I mean, a multidisciplinary intervention is always the key in older people. Giving them time is very important. Remember, the more time you give the first time, and this is a general law of medicine. Let me be very frank. The more time you give it to a patient on day one, the lesser time you spend later.
Very
Because when you
true.
miss and then on day 14 you realize, oh my god, this is what might have got messed up, it might be too late. So that's why you should be very, very sort of active in that. Then yeah, I mean we can take up any more questions. I
Yeah,
think
Yes,
I
we
can
have
see some
I
in the
have 10
chat
10
box.
minutes to give, that's all.
Yeah,
I
so
only have 10
Anjali, I
minutes. I
think
have
you
a
should take
patient.
this one. Why don't you take this one? There are few clinics which
What?
apply to there are few clinics which apply to sports principles for geriatric patients. How does that help? And is it advisable? I think you
There
should take
are
that one.
there are few clinics. What is that? There are few clinics.
Who apply few sports principles for geriatric patients. How does it help? Is it advisable?
Now, again, like I spoke about sports principles, that depends on what state the patient is at, right? How independent is the patient? If they're independent enough, things are going pretty good, you can try applying. If you've been someone who has been physically very active, you definitely can put in these principles. If there's someone who's bedridden, I'm not going to put these principles, that's for sure. So if you can discuss the case with me, if you can tell me what exercises are put up, what principles, I would love to clear that doubt for you if it's right or not, for sure.
Okay, I'll
Okay.
take the next one. I'm a final year student. What steps processes can I do if you notice some prominent signs of dementia? Okay, let me tell you that don't say dementia. Say cognitive impairment because the cognition might have
Correct.
changed, the memory might be impaired. Not everybody who has a memory loss is dementia. So that is one of the most important learnings I would want to tell you. Then secondly, things come back to people. Like we also keep keys and they're like, Are kidhar rakha tha? But it comes back to you. And sometimes you keep it so bloody secluded and safe that you don't remember. And this has happened with everybody.
Yeah.
It happens with old people as well. So if you say signs which are like red flags, is for example, it will be like they are going into a public place and they get lost completely. And this is somewhere they go daily. Sometimes it comes back to us, but in a person with dementia, it won't come back. One. Two is behavioral changes. There will be a lot of behavioral changes. Irritability will increase, anger will increase. At the same time, they won't realize that they have actually done. Second is repeating things. Third is again and again asking the same question. Is like, have I had food? And then after some time, 1 hour, you're like, Arey, where is my food? Although the food would have gone. These are all extreme cases, but remember, if people have these minor things like forgetting names and all, it comes back. So our job is to help them train their brain. So training I mean, the brain is such a bored thing. The brain will get bored very easily. So you need to give a challenge. That's why all the old patients we have been telling during this time, COVID is adopt a new skill, take your time, try to keep your brain functioning. because it's very, very important that you keep them active. Anjali, I think you should take the next one. My granny has pleural effusion.
Yes.
Can breathing exercises be given to her?
Yes, but it depends on the severity of the case. Videos have been definitely given to her. What state is she on? How are things? That's the way we're gonna go ahead and see with her. Like when you give exercises to her, I need to see how her state is as well. Like
Yeah,
how
I think
severe
just
is
to
it or
add to
not.
it,
So
pleural
I just
effusion is
can't.
just, I think, just to blanket a term, mild, moderate, severe. I mean, things like that matter a lot. A lot of people
Exactly.
can't be given exercises at all. So that is something which is very
Correct.
important because they'll get too tachypnic. Okay, I'll take the
But
next one. What is
usually,
the?
when it comes, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No,
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 no
no,
problem.
no, no. Finish.
Yeah, I was telling that usually when it comes to severe case of pleural effusion, we see them more commonly in hospitals. If they are at home, it's usually between mild and moderate. So even if you're giving exercises, it can't be something I can just tell you orally. I'll have to see how, like you said,
Yeah.
how severe this thing is, and then I can
So
tell
I
you.
think a detailed assessment is what Dr. Anjali is saying, and it always is the case. In fact, let me tell
Correct.
you, we as geriatricians do a detailed assessment, and we expect an independent assessment from the physiotherapist because that's the way it
So
works.
I'd like to add on something. So if needed, Jalak, I could share some PDFs of some scales which we use
Yeah.
with physiotherapy for geriatric patients. All right. So when you're taking any history taking, when you are diagnosing, we need to make sure these factors are taken into consideration. This is just something I just holistically spoke about because it is mental health. But there are a lot of other scales I would love to share with you all. If needed, you all can definitely look into it.
Yeah.
Just remind me, I'll share the PDFs with you.
Yeah, that would be great.
Sure, ma'am. And all of
Okay.
the participants, please note that you'll have to fill the post-event form for certification. It is in the chat box. I will send it again, so do not forget to fill that before you leave. And yeah, I think with that we will bring an end to the question and answer round. Is that fine, Catherine and
Yes,
Jalak?
please. Thank you.
Yeah, that works.
Great.
Okay.
So thank you
Before
If
everyone
we
for
end,
being
there
here.
are some questions which are left, you can just, I mean, forward it to me.
Yeah.
I'm more
So
than happy to answer it.
would you be fine with sharing your mail IDs, doctors? And we could
Sure,
send
sure,
this,
sure, sure.
yeah,
We'll do that.
if
Yeah, I'll
that's
put it in the group. Yeah.
great, sir. Thank you. So we will, for
All
everybody
right.
who has questions still left, we can send you the mail ID and then you all can get in touch through their mail. Thank you for being here and thank you for spending your evening, an hour of your very, very valuable time, doctors and participants, to be here and learn and share information. I hope you all had fun and moreover learned a lot. Thank you for being a part. For more events like this, please remember to become a member of RC Caduceus. Our early bird offer extends to the 30th. So yeah, so if you're not a member already, we'd love to have you be a member of our club. And with that, yeah, again,
okay. Just one announcement on my side.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Nishit here. I'm the VP. So basically,
Right.
since we have this amazing webinar on geriatrics, I would just like to announce that in September, uh, probably the second week of September, we'll be having a multi-city project in which we'll be conducting health camps in old age homes. So please look out for the forms, and we'll be having city heads who will be incorporating the entire project, which will be centrally organized but carried out in different cities: Chennai, Bangalore, Pune, Navi Mumbai, and Thane. Okay.
Very nice.
Okay.
great. Thanks, Nishit.
That's
That
good.
gives us all
So my
lot more reason to become a member of the club. So if you're not a member already, go and become a member as soon as possible. Thank you for being here. I think we'll end the meeting now. Does Dr.
Yes.
Anjali
Thank you
or
so
Dr.
much.
Prem anything to
Thank you.
say?
thank you so much, both of you.
Thank you for having us. It's the main thing I'd
Uh,
like to tell. Thank you so much for having us. I hope it's been interactive and insightful enough.
It
As
has,
Very
ma'am.
much.
It has
Yeah.
been a complete pleasure having you all, and we've learned so much. Thank you for coming and giving us your time. I'd also like to thank my co-director Kathleen and our avenue leader Jalak for coordinating this whole event and bringing it together and actually making it into fruition. Thank you for all your effort. Great. So
well done.
please fill the post-event form. I'm sending it again on the
Thank
chat
you.
box. So yeah, thank you.
All right. Thank you for having us. Bye.
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 Thank you so much. Bye.
Chalak and Kathleen, are you still here? Okay, I'm going to take that as a no and end this meeting then.
I am.
Okay, great.
I'm here
Sukriti?
too.
Sukriti, are you
Listen,
there?
listen, hello.
Bolo.
Yeah, Keegan, can you just post the post link form in the YouTube comment section as well?
I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll do it.
Hey, I'm doing it now. I did it.
Okay.
Sukriti said, please fill the form for certification, but no form link. Send.
But it was an amazing session though. I'm
Yeah,
super
I really
happy.
think so.
Yeah, even I liked it.
I liked how
Really
it
nice.
adhered to time limits also. That was really nice.
Yeah, and it was
No,
fun, the
that's
question
the
answering
best
session
part.
also.
Great, guys. I'm ending the meeting then. We
Yeah,
have
All right.
okay, we'll have the remaining discussion on the group, but great event.
Yeah.
yeah,
Good job, guys.
yeah.
Good job. Good job.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Hare Hare.